Yeah, so I think I'm like many other sports broadcasters that at one point it was always that I wanted to play, and at some point I realized that wasn't going to happen. And then you kind of pivot and you say, how else can I be in sports as my life? And for me, broadcasting has always been something I wanted to do. And as soon as I kind of realized that, I'm not going to be playing in the big leagues, then I wanted to say, how else can I get there? And broadcasting was the easy pivot for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was lucky. My high school had a whole broadcasting setup that I'm sure rivaled pretty much anywhere else. So
Mm-hmm.
I got lucky that I stumbled right into a perfect situation. And in high school, I broadcasted all 4 years of our sports there with YouTube broadcasts, and got my foot, toe dipped in the water, and really found out that I enjoyed it. And I think it was really a blessing for me because going into high school at that point, when athletics wasn't going as well as I wanted it to, and I was kind of reaching a crossroads of like, where do I want to go in my life, and how can I stay in sports in some way, and having those opportunities right in front of me like they were really steered me towards the path that I'm on now, and I'm going to be thankful for that for forever. So I was a volunteer last year, and I did some broadcasts here, did some mostly baseball stuff in the spring, and kind of got to know everybody. During the summer, the broadcaster who was here last year, the main guy, graduated, so there was an opening. I went through the whole interview process. There were other candidates, did the whole interview, all that stuff, and thankfully I wound up winning the position. But it was a full process. It took the whole summer. I wasn't sure if I was going to get it or not, and thankfully I did. And this has been an awesome year, and I'm hoping I'll be back next year to do the same thing. So especially if you're a college student, most college campuses have some kind of on-campus radio or at least some sort of student coverage, so definitely investigate that. These are the best opportunities that you can possibly get, because really in broadcasting, the number one thing, you got to have a demo reel, and you got to be able to work on that demo reel. So the college student stations, when you're in college, this is the only chance you'll get for like these easy reps that are often around that you can take. So if you have a student station, get involved. The other way, you don't even have to be calling a game for real on a radio, like live broadcast, to make a demo reel. You can just watch a sport, sit in front of your TV, mute the broadcast, and do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way to practice if you're trying to get your foot in the door. Make your own demo, and it's just about reps. It's just like any other sport. If you're working at it, you're going to get better. So if you want to go into broadcasting, investigate those student opportunities and take advantage of them, and then just practice. Yeah, baseball's been really my whole life. Baseball is the number one sport for me. I was raised in a baseball family. My dad played and coached baseball. I was raised that same way. So baseball's always been huge for me. The Dodgers have always been huge for me, and I grew up listening to Vince Scully do broadcasts, and so baseball's always been my thing. I played it my whole life, got down here. Really, I didn't play my senior year of high school baseball, and I thought that my playing days were done. And getting down here and becoming involved in the club team has really been awesome to continue playing even past my high school days. And I think it definitely helps the broadcasting side of things too, to still be fresh in the playing mindset, and going from playing a game in a weekend to then going and broadcasting, all those feelings, all those vocabulary terms, everything's fresh, and that definitely helped. For baseball, I write about it too. My life is very baseball focused, and it always has been. So I think that's it's an essential thing for me as a broadcaster to have everything baseball fresh. My mind is always operating in a baseball sense, so when I'm behind the microphone announcing a baseball game, it's just the same as if I'm talking baseball with my buddies or thinking about baseball or whatever else. I'm in 4 fantasy baseball leagues. Like, I am just baseball all the time, and that mindset and carrying that through my whole life definitely helps the broadcast.
I love that.
Yeah, men's volleyball has been so much fun to broadcast this year, and I think this year as a broadcaster...
Way, it's 28-27, match point again for the Beach. Moni Nikolov still looking for his first ace tonight. What a way to finish the match that would be if he can find it. It's match point for Long Beach State, 28-27. Moni Nikolov, the freshman sensation, looking to finish the match in a sweep for Long Beach. Moni Nikolov tosses it up, match point, Nikolov
really
booms
during
it
that
over.
whole broadcast, I was just trying to soak it all in and allow that energy to, take it through the arena, let it flow through me, and then go straight into the call. And when I'm able to get into that mindset, and it's very much like an athlete. If you're playing in Game 7 of the World Series, or you're in the NBA Finals, whatever sport you like, that energy that you can feed off of as a player, it's the same kind of thing that I try to do as a broadcaster, and let that energy come through to the broadcast. So, in that clip you referenced, knowing the situation, match point, making sure that I hammered that home, the emphasis on how important that play was, and then just letting the rest of it happen. That was so much fun.
Yeah, and like you said, like everything is, the one thing that stood out to me is that everything is live, right? So was there ever a moment, like even starting out broadcasting, where you're just like, you're kind of like, stuck in your own head and you're like, oh, I don't know if I should say this, doubting yourself? Can you tell me more about your beginning stages of broadcasting?
Yeah, it still happens. I mean, I think that's something that every broadcaster battles with at some point, because like you said, it's live. There's no such thing as, cut, let's do that again. Mm-hmm. You're in the moment, and I think the thing that helps me when I get into those kind of things is not letting myself overthink. When I'm behind the microphone, I try to not think about what I'm about to say before I say it, and that might sound like dangerous, like I'm going to say something I don't mean or something like that, but that keeps it simple for me. I'm watching the play unfold, whatever sport it is, I'm watching it unfold, and I'm just trying to let my eyes go straight to my mouth and not through my brain, where I'm going to get overthinking what I'm going to say, too much vocabulary, trying to get big words, whatever it is. I'm just trying to go straight from my eyes to my mouth and be the voice in the ears of the audience, and keeping it as simple as I can. And, I know how to describe what's going on in any given play, and so just keeping it simple, letting that process happen without thinking too much about it, allows the call to come out naturally.
Because, what is so, amazing for me as a viewer to watch your broadcast is that how, rarely you stumble on your words. And I don't know if I'm watching, the every single broadcast, but tell me more about that.
Yeah, I think it goes back to the keeping it simple thing. When I'm not overthinking and I'm just trying to keep it as simple as I can, be the voice for the audience. And the trick that I use that really helps me simplify things when it's a big game, when it's at UCI, a sold-out gym, when I was at Poly Pavilion earlier this year, those big stages that certainly can be overwhelming. The way that I simplify it in my head is I think about it could be one individual fan driving home on the freeway who isn't able to watch the game, and so they're listening to my broadcast. How am I going to deliver the best call I can to that individual person? Sometimes I use family members. I think, hey, my grandpa out of state is sitting listening to this game. I'm going to get rid of any of these fans around me. I'm going to get rid of everything else. It's me, the sport happening, and it's like I'm sitting on a couch next to my grandpa. I'm going to just describe what's happening. And keeping it as simple as I can helps to overcome those big stages. But there's also times, it depends on how I'm feeling on a particular day, because there's also times that I really want to lean into those environments. And at UC Irvine, I leaned into that environment and I fed on it. So it depends on the stage, and it depends who you are as a broadcaster. Not everybody's the same. There's certain people that you're going to need to try and simplify it more and try to stay within yourself more. There's certain people that you live for that kind of an environment. So just know who you are. Don't try to be someone you're not, and come up with a strategy that works for you. Yeah. I mean, I love sports, and I want to be part of it. I want my life to be in sports. I don't want to be working an accounting job, or I want every day to be showing up to the ballpark as if I'm a player, Mm-hmm. And since I didn't have the God-given ability, this is the way I'm doing it. And there's a storytelling aspect to it that I just love. Being in a community like Long Beach, I've really felt that since I got here, and have gotten more consistent opportunities. I very much value the idea of being the voice of a sport and the voice of a community, delivering the stories of a team and delivering the games to the people who care. That's something that I take very personally, and I enjoy. I want to give every individual fan the best experience they can have, and creating that one-on-one connection like that is something that this is where I want to go in life. So really it's pretty cool that in college I'm getting to do exactly what I want to do. If there's one broadcaster, whenever I get asked this, if there's one broadcaster that I could say I basically want his life, it's Joe Davis, the play-by-play man for the Dodgers. He also does NFL games. He does college basketball, Fox Sports. He does all of it. Jack of all trades, and the Dodgers are the main thing. So if I could have his life, I'd take it. That's the exact kind of career path that I'd love to follow.
Amazing. And within sporting games and matches, the plays are so fast, right? How do you tackle the speed of the plays and know when not to miss a signifying moment?
Yeah, it's tough, and that's something that comes with experience, getting an understanding of when you're able to look down and reference a stat, when you're able to shift your focus anywhere else, and when you need to be dialed in on exactly what's happening. And every sport is different. For baseball, when the ball goes dead or when a ball lands in center field, then I know, all right, the play's probably over. I can shift my focus a little bit. But it's something that just comes with an understanding of the sport, and that's where you go back to really just throwing yourself into those environments, into the sport, understanding how it flows, understanding exactly how the game is talked about, and that helps you become part of that fan base that you want to be delivering the broadcast to.
And what is your process like doing a full hour? Let's say play-by-plays are like 2 hours long, 1 hour long. They're long, matches and stuff. Do you have a partner? Tell me more about your process.
Yeah, JD Beaudry is my right-hand man here, and I'm his right-hand man. We work together for the vast majority of these broadcasts. It's me and JD as the two hired broadcasters here at 22 West. And I didn't even know JD before this year, and when we both got the jobs in this spring semester, it's been such a blast to get to know him, and to be comfortable with your color broadcaster is a very important thing, because being able to play off of each other, have the chemistry to know like you're not going to talk over each other on the air, all those kind of things, a very, very important aspect to broadcasting. And that's something that for anybody trying to be a broadcaster out there, having those people skills, having the conversational skills is an essential part of the broadcast booth.
And you and JD do every single game together?
Yeah, most of them. Yeah, if we're both available, and without an exception of something else, it's JD and I on the call for pretty much everything. A lot of things. I mean, I think that being part of a team here, you work on a lot of aspects of not only yourself as a broadcaster, myself as a broadcaster, but myself as a person too. I've grown in leadership ways, in people skills, and in all of those things that. It's similar to different aspects of life, and really I keep tying it back to this, but it's like being an athlete in that you're part of a team. You have to work together. You have to be able to show up on game day. All those kind of similar aspects. I'm not the one on the floor or on the field, but a lot of the things that go behind it are very similar. And my background as an athlete, I think, really helps in that regard, and being able to show up and understand how those things work, how to be a leader, how to do those things is really important for me as a broadcaster too.
Yeah, and that's what my page is all about, right? I've done articles with people in Greek life and whatnot, the impact sports has on an individual. And let's say you don't have to be playing the sport to be involved with the sport. I was talking to the media guys yesterday on covering volleyball, and their life is literally a part of the volleyball team too. We just don't see them. And just like film, we're behind the camera, but we are still involved with it. And that's very important, and that's what I want everyone to know about.
Yeah, totally. I mean, sports is a very large operation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the players on the floor. It's the coaches. It's the people who cover the sport. It's the people who set the whole thing up. Definitely agree with you there. I think that everybody else deserves the recognition too, and none of it could exist, and none of it could happen without the work of everybody else.
That's right. And can you tell me more about West 22 Sports? I came in here the other day, and I just realized your team is actually kind of small compared to others. What do you want to tell the viewers here? People that attend Long Beach, people that don't attend Long Beach.
It's really a fun group to be a part of. Where I think a lot of us would agree, it's not just a radio team. It's pretty much a family in here, and we all know each other so well. It's not just within these doors that we know each other. We do extracurricular activities. This whole last semester we played intramural basketball as a 22 West specific sports team, and there's different opportunities like that we're all good friends, and it's really a great group to be a part of. We've got a sports block Mondays and Fridays, Monday night, Friday mornings that you can tune into on our YouTube, and we're all very transparent during those shows, and all of our relationships play in the studio, and definitely can get to know us that way. And if you're at Long Beach, come out and check us out. We always have a booth at Week of Welcome, and we're always looking for people. So if you're into sports, if you're trying to get into whether it's broadcasting, broadcasting is not the only thing we do. So there's rules far aside from mine, social media, camera work, video stuff, there's a lot, photography. So if you like sports and you want to be, or at least dip your toe in the media aspect, we're a great place to kind of feel it out, get to know what you like, and be able to leave college with an idea of where you want to go. Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge sports guy, transparently. That is a lot of what I do. Anybody who knows me would know that I'm a huge music guy, and Bruce Springsteen is the soundtrack to my life. So I'm huge on Springsteen, and then it's all about family, and it might sound shallow, but sports are so much of what I do that I don't think that when I show up to work, it's not like that this is a a version of myself. This is just who I am. I love sports, and I love to talk about sports. And so showing up here, it's like the greatest job in the world, you know. It's just a continuation of my life.
Good. Well, thank you, Bruce, for your interview. Thank you for your time. Make sure to, tune into West 22 Sports, to hear more about your broadcast and your baseball coverage. But, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.